Some people have suggested that the former royal known as Meghan Markle, Meghan Sussex now, oh yes, and of course the Duchess of Sussex, isn't very bright. If you remember when she was on that recent trip, I think it was to Colombia, she basically pointed out that the reason why she married her husband, the former royal known as the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, is he's just very smart, very bright, and she famously said, "That's why I married him." Didn't exactly start a ripple of applause, did it? But there you go. So you can understand that Meghan in business is proving something of a catastrophe, quite literally, to coin a phrase of the New York car chase, right? But here's where it gets really interesting, because literally Meghan has let, well, thousands, if not over 1 million, slip through her fingers. And literally, she would have just needed to be advised by either somebody or work this out for herself. But as ever, a little bit too busy thinking of one thing, herself. As ever, let me explain. Morning, lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for your lovely comments regarding, of course, the shambles that we're now living in over here in London, all about exactly all the freebies that other people can get, about the hard-working folk who are literally putting the shifts in and keeping the economy going. Well, seemingly, you can't get anything. This is the problem, isn't it, with the system when you have, some people might suggest, of course, the wrong people in charge. I think that's the nicest way of putting it. Am I right, chums? Absolutely. But it is annoying, I do feel so sorry for people, particularly army veterans, people from the services that are literally on the streets. And, I talk to a lot of them because they just need company. They're a forgotten generation. They should be looked after. They were willing to put their lives on the line for you. And this is the thanks that they get through no fault of their own in most cases, let me tell you. Let's get back to your royal story of the day. Well, the second series was trumpeted, wasn't it, on Meghan Markle's Instagram account. Going to be marvellous. Yes, more of the same, emptying peanuts in one bag, bagging them up in another. What next? You kind of think, she could be going with sort of wedding gifts in tissue paper or something. You just come away thinking to yourself, where were these tips from? And were they from something like, I don't know, a 1950s How to Be the Perfect Housewife book? I don't know if many people know, but there was a wonderful book way back, I think it was released in the early 70s, by the Hollywood star Joan Crawford, called My Way of Living. Fabulous read, simply because, again, not exactly in touch with reality, wasn't Joan at this point in her career. I don't mean that in a cruel way, but the way that she suggested the things you made and stuff, you think, yeah, all right, yeah. But at least it was what it was, fun. That was what it was meant to be. Meghan, of course, deathly serious. Now, where it gets fascinating, as I told you the other day, there was no second series at all. The idea really came from the fact that we're going to split the series, and this really was not down to, as Meghan thought, making sure that they got a second series. It all fell through the cracks of the contractual agreement. Oh yes, you see, what happened was this. They realised, Netflix, right, that after 5 years they virtually got nothing. So what they decided to do was to try and get something. Then some bright spark, clearly who's a newbie inside Netflix, decided one thing. What they actually required to do to make some money was to make sure they didn't have to spend any more money. So they made the production literally in one go, telling Meghan that, of course, this would give them time to get the product ready, etc., the sort of thing. But actually, if the second series, and if you look at the contract, and I've seen this, if there was a commission for the second series, then another trigger payment would have had to be forthcoming. But somebody somewhere along the line has missed this, and as ever we have to say allegedly in the contract. Now perhaps this is because she's not speaking to the agent, she fell out with them, who knows? Could be a plethora of things, right, chums? But the bottom line is, literally, because of this gaffe, and because of the very clever way of their accounting system, basically she could have had probably another million from this deal, because the deal is, if they push ahead with it, then they have to pay for a second series. But you see, I think that she was so engrossed and thrilled and happy and delighted to be actually making something, filming something, because let's not forget, her son Archie said, "Please don't work so hard, Mummy." Right, I mean, doing what exactly? But if she'd have worked a little bit harder, literally looking at her contract rather than trying to appease the bosses, what you will find is the fact that actually she lost out a lot of money that simply could have been money for stirring a bowl, all because it appears that while Netflix are unhappy with the level of ratings, and they are terrible, the PR, the free PR that she's given them, is amazing. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.